welcome to my channel. It's late in the evening. Well, it's actually not very late. It's dark out. So I really wanted to get to this earlier. However, I am here. I made it. So I just want to do a somewhat quick, I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but I wanted to talk about completing journal pages. It is something that I have really struggled with actually a lot. And when I say completing journal pages, I mean just working in a journal page and feeling like you're done and walking away because now you're done, you've had enough, right? I am not talking about having a wonderful finished piece of art. So I have been making my own journals and purchasing journals, but I've been making my own as well for a number of years, and I just love the process of making journals. And I have some sitting right here, and I don't want this to be like a full-on, I'm going to show you every journal I made. However, I have some that I have put together over the years, just some kind of odd, sorry for the noise, just some kind of odd journals, a lot of junk journals, and I love making them. I just have so much fun creating journals and painting pages and then stitching them together. I really love to do just like a pamphlet stitch and in a few minutes have a journal to create in. My only struggle is that once I have that, I don't know what to put in it. And so I've, over the years, like I have one here that I created for, I'm pretty sure this was for a class. I want to say it was Soul Food with Mistel, but I'm not positive. But I've had this one, was from 2014. I was just looking through it. 2014, so like 10 years ago, and most of the pages are empty because I would make, and this one is not a very good example because it's falling apart. I almost said falling asleep. What am I talking about? It's falling apart, so it's not a very good example, but I'm just saying, you know, I find it really difficult to create on the pages afterwards. And so, yes, I do have some that I've gone in and painted on, but I just have a really hard time with that. So I wanted to talk today about how we can go about creating and feel like we've accomplished something at the end of our painting session. Now, disclaimer, most of the time, I do not walk away with a finished page. I am doodling sometimes, scratching out something. Sometimes I'll just come in and swatch out paint on pages because I don't know what to make and I don't feel like making anything, but I definitely feel like being creative. And so just putting paint down on the page, sometimes I just really have fun with that. So I'm not talking about having some beautiful created finished page. That's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is feeling like you can go to your journal and work in it and have something done at the end. Other times I might want to come and just mess around and I don't really get anything done, and that's okay too. So for today I wanted to talk about, so this journal here I just made recently because I was doing the Care December with Wonderlust. We've done that for a few years and I really like it. I make the journal and then I don't always follow through. And in fact, I made this one and then I wasn't really feeling the pages when I went to go work in it. So I ended up making another one. And I don't know if I have the other one sitting right here. But anyway, I really loved this one. I thought it came out so fun and it's just kind of grungy, and it definitely is a junk journal, so it's full of just leftover pages and junk pages, right? And the cover is made from a crumble box, and I just painted some paper and stitched it together, and I quickly had a fun little journal. So now I want to use this journal. So what can I do to feel like I'm productive when I sit down? Because for one thing, I know I've heard people say, you know, when you use paper like from magazines or something, it's not really conducive for painting. You can write on it if you want to journal, that's fine. Definitely you can journal on these pages, but how can you transform them maybe into a fun journal page from these, you know, this junk paper? So I try a couple of things. So I recently made this one, and I have I think I just put it like on a reel. It's falling apart already because the pages are just old book pages. So I went about creating this page just kind of thinking about, like, if I don't know what to do, what would I do, right? And so for this one, I started out with just painting. I have found that if there is something that you doodle a lot or quite often, that could be a focus of your page. So I kind of, you know, rummaged through my, you know, my baskets of junk. This isn't the only one. I have a few baskets of junk. I probably don't need that much. But I kind of rummaged through, and I do have another folder that I keep a bunch of doodled faces. I just love to just kind of scratch out faces. And so I end up with a lot of them just on kind of scrap pieces of paper. And I hate to throw them away. I just think if they're fun, if I look at that little scribbled out face and it brings me joy, then I keep it and I put it somewhere in the hopes that I might one day want to use it. And so this one I happened to pull out. I had painted the page, and I did a couple layers, had painted the page, and then I said, okay, what am I going to do with this? So I started going through some of the faces, and I pulled this one out, and it just like fit perfectly in there with the marks that I had made, and it just seemed like to fit, you know, and the face had already been painted out, and so the colors kind of went, and so I was just super happy with that. And it wasn't, you know, something that I was intending to do. It just kind of happened. And so I think just maybe starting the page with some paint and seeing where it takes you, that might be a great start. I just wanted to kind of talk about maybe a process if you're stuck. What could you do? Okay. So I think I'll start like I did on this one and just get out some paints and just start putting some paint on a page. And I think I will use one of these magazine pages because I feel like that might be a good way to show how you can still create something even on, you know, a non-traditional painting base. You know, this is just a magazine page. It's not meant to be for art. So we can get started with that. Okay, so give me a second and I will get some paint out and we will start painting this. I always like to just kind of grab my go-to colors. I love this light pink and the mustard, and then maybe with some of this dark green. I don't know. So I'm just going to pull these colors out. I do have some gesso, and then I have some black gesso as well. And I buy this Bob Ross gesso on Amazon. I really like it. It's not super expensive, and I like how it how it works. So I have a palette here, and I'm just going to grab a brush. I did not get a water bucket or a jar of water or anything to paint with, so I will be right back. I just cleaned my paint water out. Sometimes I don't clean that out for days, so that just got cleaned out. So I think I will actually start with some gesso, and all I'm going to do is just put a little bit of gesso out here and just start kind of painting on it. I don't know if I'll cover the whole page with it. I probably would. Like, I'm going to say I will cover the whole page here, because then it gives me a, you know, a base to work on that is not the magazine surface, because the magazine surface is really hard to get anything to kind of adhere to it. I could probably easily take off the gesso if I wanted to, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and cover that up. Now, if I wanted to keep any of that background, I could just, you know, wipe away from there if I wanted to. I'm not really interested in the background too much. I mean, it does add a little bit of texture to the page, so that's good. But I'm just going to start with that, and then I'm going to start adding also some colors to it as well. And whenever I am working on a page, I just kind of think about, you know, I don't always think about where I'm placing the colors, but I do a little bit. If I'm just messing around and I don't feel like doing anything, I'll just put paint wherever, you know, because you just see what comes out. If I would like to try and stick with some sort of, you know, some sort of technique, I guess, per se, I would maybe think about the composition and balancing out the colors, but that even is like, you know, when you're in the mood, right? If you're not in the mood, then you might just put some paint down and not worry about it. So I'm kind of just going across here and adding, and it's still a little light, so I might take some dark here and think about, you know, adding some darker paint colors here. And I do try to think about, you know, the colors that go together, but like I said, again, if it's just about getting some colors or having some fun in your journal, then just getting any color out is okay, but you probably will come to like the journal page if you try to get kind of some harmonious colors going, you know, rather than just put anything, because sometimes you'll end up with mud. And so if you don't think about what you're mixing up a little bit, then you might not like what you end up with, and then it just makes it more frustrating, right? So I'm just going to keep adding some color here and there. And I'm not really, I don't have any idea at this point, like, what am I going to do on this page? But as I mentioned earlier, I might grab a face that I had doodled already, or, you know, if I don't have an image to put down, maybe I put down a quote or something. And depending on what is in your mind right now, like when you sit down to work in your journal, sometimes you just want to, you know, paint something and just be with your thoughts. right? Because, you know, I'm talking right now, but when I'm not on a camera recording and I'm doing this, I can just put some music on or just, you know, think. Just kind of sit and think about things, what's going on, if there's anything I need to think through. And sometimes it helps to grab a quote or something related to what I'm thinking about. I like to do that. I like to kind of put the words down that are, you know, the thoughts that I'm thinking. And that could be your own words. It doesn't have to be a quote from somebody else. It could be your own quote. But I like to do that. I don't always like my own handwriting, so sometimes I will just type it up, you know, on a Word doc and then print it on the computer and use those, you know, those words where it's typed out, and it, you know, then I can attach it to my page, and I like how it looks a little bit more. So right now I'm literally just putting some paint down. I have no direction at all. I think I want to put some more of this pink here. And I'm just kind of trying to think about nothing really. I'm just putting some paint down and seeing where it goes. Once I have some paint down as like the base coat, then like for that other piece that I was showing you, then I went and either got a stencil or get something to make some marks with. It could be a pencil, it could be, you know, a crayon or art crayon or just regular crayons, I guess. I try not to put anything down that's waxy or oily. This is so delicate right here, it's just gonna fall apart. I might dry this here real quick so it has a little more strength to it. But I try not to put anything down that's, you know, oily, the oil sticks or wax sticks or anything like that, unless I'm trying to make a resist, because otherwise the coats on top don't really stick to it. So once I have this down, then I might take a stencil or something and make another pattern on top. So I'm going to do that and I'm going to dry this and come back. Okay, I went ahead and put some tape on the back of this just to make it a little bit stronger. I got a stencil here that I thought might be fun. I thought it might be fun to add a little bit, because I don't have a lot of dark on that page. And I try to make kind of, you know, a mixture of values and get like some dark on there. So I thought maybe I could add some stencil. This might be a little too dark, but we'll see. I mean, this is just for me. This is just about playing and experimenting. And sometimes I end up with something that I really love and then I can repeat it. Other times I end up with something I hate and I know not to do it again. So either way, I end up with information and, you know, ideas. Good ideas or bad ideas. But I like that. That's okay. I don't hate it. Okay, and then once I get this on here, I can see if I'm ready to add some sort of focal point or not. I mean, it's pretty quick. I get kind of bored really fast, so I want to make quick art, and it takes a lot for me to stick around with something for more than one sitting. I definitely do some paintings and some art that I have to do in multiple sessions, and that's hard for me because I like to just knock it out quickly and be done. But if I'm really enjoying something and I really want it to work out in a particular way, I have to be willing to stick around and make it work. Now, I like this, but I'm thinking I should probably kind of knock it back a little bit with some of the white gesso, because it is just a little bit dark and that blackness is kind of taking over there. So I might go ahead and I would love to just use like the brayer on here, but I don't want to get it out. So I think maybe I'll just, oh, you know what? I like to use the fan brush because it doesn't fully cover anything, and it just kind of makes some nice marks. So maybe I'll try that on here and see if it just kind of pushes back. Yeah, just kind of pushes back and makes it a little grungy. I kind of like the grungy look. Whoops, tearing my little doily over here. Too rough with the little doily. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm gonna get a little bit, because when this dries, it'll probably dry a little bit lighter than what I'm actually seeing, so I can go kind of a little bit heavier on it, probably. Okay, I like that. Let's see, do I want to add anything else? I do also like to add circles. I feel like it makes a, I already glued it to the page. Okay, I'm going to pull these out right now so we can kind of see what's happening here. I like that. They came out really pretty. I'm just trying to think what I want to, I'm going to grab some things that I might want to try out on this, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back, and I gathered a couple things here that I thought might be fun. I have this little leaf foliage type thing here. I was going to just, well, actually I might just leave that. I was trying to add a little bit of background here to kind of give it some more room, and then I thought this might be cute over here just to kind of balance it out. But I might like it just here. Maybe because I'm going to write, and maybe I just write across here. Maybe I'll do it that way. I'm not sure if it'll work or not, but let's just go for it and see, because this is so kind of delicate, but that's okay. It might be fine. This is just a book for me, right? So, so it's okay to just test things out. And I might grab a quote. I might have grabbed a quote, but I don't think I'm going to. So when you're thinking about, like, what do I put? What do I write? What do I add to it? You can just kind of think about your day and, you know, is there something that could be, you know, a blessing? Is there something that you need to work on? I kind of like to give myself, you know, affirmations, positive affirmations to kind of help myself keep working through whatever I'm working on. And so I think that's what I'm going to write in here. And I have this orange pen. I'm not even sure if it will write on here. I know if I try to use like a paintbrush or something like that, it's not going to work. I do like to use a pencil. I might do that, but I kind of wanted the orange to stand out with the orange that's in here. I thought that might look nice. So we'll just see how it goes, okay? So I went ahead and went over it with pencil. It stands out much better like that. I might go back with a different pencil to do like kind of a shadow effect on it so it stands out more, but I like how it is right now, and it's fine because like I said, it's just time spent in my journal and I'm happy with that. And I put perseverance will help me grow into who I want to be. And so it's kind of what I was thinking today. Like, I have to work hard and do the things that I need to do in order to, you know, make a difference in my life and make a difference in what I'm doing. I don't know, I kind of like that instead of the yellow, but I don't know. I do kind of like the yellow there. I mean the multicolor there. And I was going to write into the doily. I completely forgot about that. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and put this side down because I really liked the other side. Like that. I want to work on making the lettering, and this is why, like I said, I will oftentimes print it out on a computer and then I can glue in the message that I want. But otherwise, I like it. I painted, I wrote a message out, I did a little cutting and collaging, gluing, and so I like how it came out. So this is one way that you can have or take like steps in order to complete a page or just work in a page. I say complete, but I mean really just work in a page, because complete is whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to have a message. It doesn't have to have a finished, you know, product. It's just time spent in your journal. So you can paint, you can add stencil, you can pick a quote or write a quote. I just wrote something that I felt like pertained to me, but you can grab a quote. And then, like I said, for this one, I had a doodled face that I had already painted. So I put it on the page, and then I had wrote on here red lips and rosy cheeks, because it reminded me of the song. And that's just a couple of ways that you can work in your journal, especially in like one of these junk journals. Now, if you have, you know, purchased journals that are a little bit bigger and they don't have these funky pages, there's lots of other things you can do in those pages as well. Next time I can, or if anybody's interested, I can talk about, you know, if you want to start with a particular image that you're working on, because I did find out this past year, so I started this past year kind of working more on being deliberate with, you know, getting a journal and creating art in it just to practice. So for this purpose, just if you don't feel like doing art, if you're just scribbling or putting paint down or anything, that's awesome, because I think anything being creative, I think is really good for the soul. But if you would like to get better at, you know, painting or painting in a certain way, certain style, that's what I started doing more this past year. I started with my sketchbooks and picking out images that I wanted to kind of study. And so I more than once created pages that had to do with it, with like birds or owls or something. I did, I don't remember if it was this year, I guess it was last year, or I'm sorry, the year before, so not 2024, but 2023, I was creating some art that had scorpions in it, and I started painting all these scorpions. But I found it really enjoyable because it helps me to really hone in on the particular parts of whatever it is that I'm trying to study more, and it really does help improve the outcome and what I'm creating, because I'm creating it multiple times. So if you'd like to see that process, let me know. Please leave me a comment. I am really trying to just kind of create these videos, get started on YouTube, and just share with everyone like my process and what I do and what I find enjoyable. And so if you're interested, I can go through how I create in my sketchbooks now more currently, and how I have found that that has been more helpful for me. But otherwise, I will leave you here, and thank you so much for joining me. Again, please like, subscribe, so I can really see this happen and work for me this year. And I'm just super excited about it. And I'm super excited about getting on here and just talking with you all about art, because I love it. And I know there's so many of you out there that also love it and just love to paint and play with paint. And I do have other media that I use as well. And so I'd love to share that all with you. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again soon.